Hello Orchid friends, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time watching my video, my channel is all about orchids. From what orchids I have, how I grow them, my thoughts on certain orchid topics, to what orchids in my collection are blooming, etc. So if you want to follow along my orchid hobby adventure, please consider subscribing to my channel and turn on the notification. Today in this video, we're going to look at one of my Phalaenopsis, Sweet Memory M. In my collection, there are a total of 2 of these orchids, and this one is the first one. But if you follow my channel, you probably have already seen the video that I did on the second one, because that one bloomed out earlier than this one. And the reason I call them, number 1 versus number 2 is, just for me to be able to tell which one it is. And I just basically use a marker to mark on the edge of the cup. If it's a 2 dot, if I put 2 dots on one of them, and that is a number 2. And then the other one has 1 dot on the edge of the cup, and that's number 1. So number 1 is what we're looking at today. So if we go back in time, end of January was when they first started showing signs of elongating their flower spike and then continue to grow. So this one, because it has Bellina in its parentage, so it's number 1 super fragrant and number 2 are a sequential bloomer. However, the trend that I see with Sweet Memory M's, at least the ones that I have, they will keep their flower spike for 2 flowering cycles, and then they'll die back, and then the next time when it's time to flower again or initiate the spike, it would grow new spikes. These orchids have never kept their flower spike for more than 2 flowering cycles, so that tends to be the trend that I see. Also, Sweet Memory M is very vigorous in terms of leaf and roots production, and it's really sturdy as well. It doesn't really require a whole lot of care, and when it blooms, the fragrance is just so lovely. And it's pretty intense too, especially in the morning. I don't even need to get close to them. If I just walk by them, I can detect the fragrance very easily. And one thing I love about these flowers is the pink fuchsia or magenta color that's distributed throughout the flower, and then it has that yellow edge around the flower, which I really love a lot. And of course, because it has Bellina in its parentage, so the bottom sepals, you see that there is that very distinctive Bellina characteristics, where you see that color distribution. Parts of it is, half of it is darker pink, and the other one is just kind of a faded pink. I just love this cross a lot, and I know there are so many different strengths of Sweet Memory. So this one is the M one, and I have 2. And then there's also Sweet Memory Leodoro. I also have 2 in my collection. And I have to tell you, I think Sweet Memory M tend to produce bigger flowers. At least when they all bloomed, I put them side by side, 2 years in a row for sure, that M's have bigger flowers, much bigger flowers than the Leodoro cross. So I'm not sure if that's really the case for all of you, but at least for me, that seems to be the case. In terms of care, they don't require a whole lot of special care, and they are really reliable bloomer, very sturdy, not fussy at all. The only downside is that because it's not as easy to find, so it's a little pricey. I remember paying $50 for 1 plant, and I got 2, so obviously it cost me, $100, and that's not even including shipping. But I think it's worth it if you can afford it. If it's not easy to find and you can come across something like this, and you have the money for it, get 2, because if you just get one, and if that something happens to it, you just really don't know when you'll be able to find this cross again next time. I mean, there are lots of sellers selling allegedly Leodoros or Sweet Memory, whatever, on eBay. I read the reviews, and it's pretty mixed reviews. Some people claim that they, spend a good handsome amount of money for a small seedling, and I think that is just unfortunate because we all know seedlings can take a couple years to mature and then bloom, and that is provided that you don't kill it during the process, right? Anyway, back to this one. So this one is in semi-hydro, and if you can see here, the pebble ratio is probably about 1:1. But if I ever repot this orchid, I will probably do bigger pebbles. I'll probably include a little bit more bigger pebbles, because now it has more roots, and I feel that I would like more air inside the media. Even though right now this orchid still loves and still grows roots into the media deeper and deeper, and you can see some roots have already been inside the reservoir area. So to me, that is the best scenario for semi-hydro, because that way I don't always have to fill up the water to the drainage hole level. I can always just add, say, 1/4 cup, and that would probably fill up the reservoir to about half point. I don't have to fill it up all the way to the drainage hole, and that gives me so much flexibility in terms of watering amount and how quickly I want this container, the media, to dry out. And here you see some bonus footage, and this is my number 1 and number 2 in full bloom having side by side. Number 2 is the one on the right, and I had already done a video on it. And then today it's about the one on the left, Sweet Memory number 1. So they all have very similar characteristics, except that number 2 always seemed to bloom slightly earlier than number 1. And that's already 3 years in a row. So not sure if, it's a coincidence, or somehow number 2 just is always an early bloomer than number 1. Number 2 on the right has a couple yellowing leaves, I think 2. But because those are really old leaves and the speed of yellowing is rather slow, so there's nothing concerning there. If it's leaves in the middle or on top that's yellowing with a really fast speed, then you really have to look at whether there's any root rot, stem rot, or any pest issue. Typically, when it's very slow, when the yellowing is really slow, it's really just its own natural aging process to shed off old leaves. So for the one on the right, in case you wonder, it's really nothing concerning. Now, I know what I'm about to say is probably going to be controversial. This is just purely my opinion, and if you disagree, I fully respect your opinion. And what I'm about to say is, I feel I still love my Leodoros and these Sweet Memory M's, but for the price that some people are selling their Leodoros, I can tell you, I personally feel they're overrated. And the price tags, that big of a price tag, for anything over 50, 60, 70 for a mid-sized seedling or near blooming size plant, yes, they're hard to find, but I feel that that's price gouging right there. Because a friend of mine actually sent me some listing from eBay asking me if it's worth it, and I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, if you have the money, you want to buy something like that for, pay $70, $75 for a small plant. If you really want it, yeah, sure, but I wouldn't do it personally. Anyway, I still love these flowers, the plants, fragrances. They're a really nice orchid to have. But, I just wish that they're more readily available for all the orchid hobbyists in America. This is all I have for you today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to get more orchid related videos from my channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification. I want to wish you happy growing, and I will talk to you in my next video. Ciao!